All right. How you getting on, you will? Can I say you're looking fabulous? You're looking well. How long's it been? 20 years? What's the name of the new guy? Martin, is it? Mark, whatever. Well, tell me, Terry. Can he do silly voices like I used to do for you? No? Can he deliver on a subpar South African accent that verges into Kenyan and he has to just drop the whole thing? Because it's, you know, does he? Tell me, is he still a lick out journeyman? Come on. I tell you, he's all laughed for the right reasons when I said I was going to sell those lick out master t shirts. He's laughed, but guess what? Sold out. Sold out. Like me, sell out. They've sold out. You know, he's all laughed. And I did even have people say, Tony, look, thank you very much for charging me €25 for an undershirt, essentially, that I can never show publicly. That's just, I want to take it back. Stop making it so gross. It's not gross. It is gross. It's all gross. I had 3 t-shirts. Look at this relatable material. Ba-doom, ba-doom, doom, ba-doom, doom, doom. Are you ever selling 3 t-shirts online? Doom, doom, ba-doom, ba-doom, doom. One of them says lick out master. One of them says fucking raw. And the other one says fuck the boats. I mean, if you know that's what they said. But I'm just saying that it's dirty. It's dirty. It's so dirty. No, don't do no day. That's dirty. That's dirty. Put it down. Down. That's dirty. The t-shirts are dirty. Filth. Smut. So what I'm going to do in a future episode, not this episode. I'll tell you what this is a weird episode, right? And I'll explain, I'll explain in a second about that. But in a future episode, I'm going to sit there with a change jar, with a swear jar, and just throw one in every time I swear. Every time I catch myself having a swear, and we'll see how many. Keep doing licking. Hang on, let me just. This is not smutty. I've literally run out of things to do to entertain the baby. So for 15 minutes a day, I was like, literally just licking because he stares at it and he tries to grab at my tongue. It's the only thing that I could keep him occupied because I couldn't be arsed fucking moving my limbs. So I had him lying there, like, blah, blah, blah. And then when he would start getting a bit, I just bring it up to a different tone. Blah, blah, blah. About 15 minutes. Just how do I waste your time? I'm looking at this boy. How do I waste your time while you're alive, while you're awake, while you're alive, while you're here, while you're cognizant, while you're present? How do I just waste your time? That's what I'm constantly, that's the daily battle of me. But anyway, I'm going to do a swear jar because I'm trying to clean up. I'm kind of clean up my act. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to be an RTE. Hopefully, I need to be clean. I can't be calling out swears all the time. You know what I mean? And that's not to say that I'm going to lose. I'm not going to lose any kind of. Hey, bro, look out! I'm beating myself up here. I'm not. I'm only kind of joking, but I'm also kind of thinking like there is a certain way. I used to think, oh, I wish there was just someone who would go on the den and say yes, cunts, or something like that. But that's not. There is avenues of communication, and there's a speed limit on some of them. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about. That would already be ba-doing in the swear jar. I'm going to sit there for whatever, the hour that I do the podcast, and just have about 200 little coins, little kappas. You're not gonna get me kappa in a swear jar with you, Bob Hoskins. It's me, Bob Hoskins. What are you, a rabbit? What are you talking about? Are you a rabbit, kappa? Whatever, I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'll explain this. So I'm hopeful. This is the thing, hopefully. Basically, it was meant to be a part of a rehearsal for this panel show that I'm being a guest on. And the thing is, you're not supposed to say these things. Everything's supposed to be a secret. Everything's like, oh, look, this thing that I've been doing. Oh, you guys don't know, but I shot a film. You know what I mean? Or you guys don't know that I'm doing a TV show or something like that. I'm being a guest on a TV show for a panel show for RT Clear History. My good pal Kevin McGarren's on it. It's not Tony's name. I'd say, oh, well, hang on, because I'm on Joanne McNally. I know her team. Running out of he's a horn for. We're not doing Tony's Name Drop Corner right now, right? We're not getting to that. I'm just saying that I got up this morning to go in to do that, and everything that's done when kind of COVID, within the kind of COVID, world, everything that happens within the COVID sphere is very meticulous. There's a lot of things you got to do to whatever hoops you got to jump through. So I had to sign this waiver to do the thing, and it was going to be a rehearsal today, and then as of recording this, shooting it tomorrow. My episode that I'm on. Clear History, where it's a panel show where comedians and people from the public who aren't, I've established this before, there's comedians, this is this tier, and then just 20 fucking tiers below that are the people from the public, No. People, put in things from their past they'd like to clear from history. It's fun. And I got up this morning to go in to do that. I was heading into the studio. No one else is in the studio. It's fine. It's all above board. And I was going to do all my little prep before going into that. I had a little tickle in my throat. Terry was a bit sick, and the boy was getting a bit tetchy. And I'm like, have a bit. I had to sign his waiver, going through all the things. And I'm like, and look, I'm a guy. You're looking at a guy who loves call. Like, I'm not very good at calling sick, but I really enjoy calling sick. And I also, in general, love, could be Anne. And I'd be like, I don't have to do that. That's fantastic. That's the best news I've ever heard, is that I don't have to do that. Gigs cancelled. Unbelievable news. Anything. They've decided to go with another person. Brilliant. That is spectacular news for me. But so I have a weird complex with it, right? Because I faked it for so long. I'm like, I don't want to fucking call. When I'm actually sick, I talk. I have to kind of think, what would someone who's actually sick say? Even when I'm actually sick, I have to think that, right? So I wasn't actually sick, but I'm like, I can't really fill out the form because I do have one of the symptoms, which is a sore throat. And Terry is a bit of fatigue, and she's a sore throat. I think it was a bit of a cold. So I got onto them, and I was like, look, I'm just saying this. And I'm like, I actually said, this producer, I said, look, I'm not calling in sick, but because I'm a child. Look, I'm not. Look, listen, you're gonna think, but there was actually a dog, and he did actually eat my script. You're going to think that I'm a 33-year-old man. No one's ever going to talk to me like a child again. I was like, you're going to think I'm calling in sick. And they said, okay, well, look, because, we have a COVID officer, what are they going to fucking do when this is all over? Be like I just kept thinking COVID, whatever. I'm sure they're doing a great job, and it's a very essential job. And I don't know if it's part of HSE or how it works, or if it's something that happens in, I don't know where you get hired to be a COVID officer, But the first thing that came to mind, and I shouldn't feel this, was, I don't know if you remember, there was the teacher strike back in my day, in like second and third year. There was a teacher strike because the most pathetic. With SIP2, the union basically, pathetic, was like saying, right, we're not getting paid to watch classes when either a teacher is sick or if there's a free class or something like that, and yet we do that, so we want to be paid for that. And then the government said no, and they said, right, we're going to go on strike. And then they brokered a deal where they fucking hired people. We always call them scabs. They hired people. So for a couple of years, if you had a class, if you had a class where the teacher wasn't in, some fucking randomer off the street would come in and kind of assert some kind of level of authority. Because they couldn't do anything. They couldn't do... I mean, obviously they were like, the whole thing was like, you can't fuck with them, and you wouldn't. And they wouldn't chat. So they just basically go in, read a book. You'd sit there, read a book. You're staring at a fucking stranger reading a book. And we had this guy, and everyone called him Batman. It's like, oh, sketch, here comes Batman. And he just like, he was just a bald guy with a beard, right? And everyone called him Batman. And I think it was because his beard had like two kind of like, so basically on his chin, at the middle of his chin, there wasn't kind of much growth, and there was kind of big growth on either side of his beard. So it looked like little ears. His little ears, he looked like upside down, because of his bald head, an upside down Batman face. I was like, oh, sketch, here's Batman. And they're like, duh, 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 duh. He'd just be sitting there reading a book. I'm like, so who's your favourite Batman? And again, they wouldn't say him. But who fucking brokered that deal? Imagine that, like, that's like, imagine Mick Collins coming back to Eamon de Valera, right? After brokering the deal. And I was like, well, what did you get? So great news, right? The war's over. Great news. Great. So we got the counties back. No, we didn't, right? We didn't get anything more. But what we've done is now someone else is going to come in and live in the counties. That's the only example I can think, I don't know if that's entirely accurate, but I tell you, there was too much school strikes. You know what I mean? Too much striking going on, and too many scabs. That's why I didn't do history. Should have done history. I told you, I did all this thing when I did my Leaving Cert results. I should have just done the things I was interested in, rather than the things that I thought were going to be easy. Path of fucking least fucking resistance. Anyway, I got on to this because for whatever reason, it made me think the Corona COVID officers are, of course, not scabs. And I shouldn't have brought that up or said that out loud. But what it made me think of, like, I often thought, what happened? What did those kind of teachers do after that? Could I have got that job? Could I get that job now? You know? I don't want that job. I mean, like being a scab. A COVID officer seems good. You got the high vis. You're like, oh, keep it at 2, guys. Keep it at 2. You're a bit of a 1.75 there, guys. Please. I'd just be there with a 2-meter pole, just poking people. Yeah, lovely stuff. Thanks very much. Thanks for that. No, but it got me thinking. What are they? Where are they now? COVID officers. Where are they now? Have they moved on to a different virus? A less popular virus. Who's the cream of the crop? You know, when those COVID officer jobs inevitably, get the chop. Who is going to be? It's going to be like, guys, whoever the best COVID officer is, we're going to move over to AIDS. He really rose to the ranks of Corona, and now he's covering SARS. I don't know what I'm talking about. Listen, you can tell I'm fucking little chihuahua in a paddling pool because I got nothing to say. Because basically, they got onto the COVID officer, and the COVID officer said, "Look, you don't come in for rehearsal. You're perfect enough as it is." No, they said, "Don't come in for rehearsal. You need to get a COVID test. You need to get a COVID test. Your wife needs to get a COVID test. The baby's fine. Baby doesn't need a COVID test." And again, I was like a child. I was like, "Oh, what?" I was again with the producer. This is television. This is to be on the telly. And I'm like, "Oh, just so you know, I'm not calling in sick, but okay, you have to get a test." Oh, what? And I said, "But my wife's in bed." So I said, and she goes, "Well, let me know what she says. Let me know if she wants to get the test or not." And Terry, of course, was like, "Of course, let's do it." So right now we got the test, got the big long swab in the nose and in the mouth, and I'm here. I'm bloody Schrodinger's patient zero, because I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming I don't have a temperature. I can taste everything. I am even a little hop house here, and it tastes nice. But basically, this episode, later on, in a couple of minutes, see, this is the thing. The majority of you will have not heard what you're going to hear later on in this episode, which is my 33 tips for turning 33. Basically, I wrote a big long list when it was my birthday there a couple of weeks ago. Because on the Patreon, where there is almost as many podcasts now as there is regular episodes, I recorded an episode of my top 5 favorite things when I turned 33. I found this 23. So I found this list when I turned 23 of my top 5 favorite things. Well, I can't tell you what they are. You can listen over on the Patreon. So I was going to do another revised list of my top 5 favorite things, just things in general. Now that I turned 33. So when I was writing that list, I actually just found myself more so kind of writing. Kind of, because I was trying to figure out what had happened in those 10 years, from 23 to 33. So I started like writing kind of a list of things that I kind of figured out, between the ages of 23 and 33. And I wrote, just pretty much was like writing an email. I remember reading this actually from Tim Ferriss, who isn't the best writer in the world, but he's definitely quite prolific in terms of blogs and output and all these various things. He strives so much to be like the kind of perfect man that it becomes quite uninteresting to me personally. But you can't deny that he has these kind of optimization secrets and stuff like that. And his technique he found for writing anything that was like non-fiction was like worded like you're trying to write an email to a friend, and have that be the kind of, if you're finding it difficult to find your own prose and find how you write, just write it as an email. And whether that's trying to be funny or, authoritative, whatever you're looking to do, write it as an email. So I wrote this, and ended up writing these 33 tips for life, for things that and I wrote them quite fast, so there's some, there is some filler in there, but there's some in there that I'm like, oh yeah, I suppose I did realise that. And it's nice reflecting on a decade and think, oh, you did actually pick up on stuff, even though you still look at yourself like you're a 16-year-old who has an untucked shirt, who is constantly late for school, who has to make up lies about damaging their penis so that the vice principal doesn't ask any more questions. The fact that you still view yourself like that, you don't realise that, no, you do actually grow and you do evolve, and decades go by, and without you realising that you have actually acquired new information. So I did get very good feedback. I got some good feedback on the Patreon. I got good feedback from friends and family who just said, oh, I like that tip, or what the fuck are we talking about with that one? And I thought I would release it from behind the paywall. It's also quite handy for me because today I was supposed to be in recording this thing, and I like to kind of release a few from behind the paywall just so you can give you a taste of what's over there, in a place where some people are saying it's even better than the podcast you get here. I've even seen on the Reddit /Tony Cantwell, a Redditor said, Tony seems a lot more relaxed and less eager to please. I think I saw a comment over there. So if that sounds good, check that out. But look, I'm also cautious of the fact, so that's coming up in a second, but I'm also cautious of the fact that some people here are patrons. And you might have already heard that episode. So let me spill some tea here. And you'll see the fucking Mandalorian. Have you seen the new Mandalorian? Have you seen the new Mandalorian? Don't even fucking talk to me if you haven't seen the new Mandalorian. You got to be watching the Mandalorian, right? It's the best TV. It's the best TV on TV, right? It is just fucking... And you need to watch the fucking making of this show as well. How they're actually doing it. How they're doing it with a green screen. How they're kind of like using video game technology to like map the backgrounds based on where the camera is pointing. Like it's almost like the camera itself is projecting the image based on the kind of direction that it's pointing. That's not what's happening, but they build this massive dome that's like a kind of a projector. So wherever the camera faces, the dome knows that's where the camera is facing, and just that location will project with the kind of perspective of these locations. It's the technology that Jon Favreau used to make The Lion King, which, whatever, fucking shite. My issue is Nala not being sexy enough in that. Speaking of which, in the future episodes coming up on the Patreon, I'm finally doing my most fuckable Disney animals competition. So you have that to look forward to, and that'll be passing over into this show. I think it'll be a two-parter. I'm not spoiling that, but I'll just say, this Nala wouldn't even be making the top 1,000 of animated animals. But anyway, he used this technology where basically they would animate everything. They would make all of these kind of animals be wandering around fucking Serengeti, and then they would actually get camera people to like follow this in VR, follow this wearing like fucking Oculus Rift, like like they're actually like an Attenborough crew trying to shoot the Lion King from made up stock footage of animals. That's how they did it, which is remarkable. It doesn't come across at all in the film, and the film is incredibly boring. And it loses so much personality by being just animals, you know. And Scar doesn't actually even look like a fucking lion. And actually, funnily, something I learned about kids and what kids find funny. We did a Dream Gun film reads, and you know, Dream Gun, they rewrite scripts, fill them full of jokes, and get actors and comedians like myself to read the roles. And we did Lion King, and there was a bit at the end. So it was an all ages one for kids. So there was a lot of kind of more kind of, you know, easier jokes, still funny, but you know, easier jokes for kids to digest. And the biggest laugh comes from the end, where Scar, you know, he does the bear. He's meant to be leaning in to whisper, "I killed Mufasa," and Scar leans in this, and he goes, "Do you want to know a secret? I'm a dog." And the kids were like, "Ah!" You know, blew their fucking minds. The lion said he's actually a dog, though. Do you remember that? You know, they love that shit. Anyway. And he did look like a fucking dog. I'm not having to go at you, Jon Favreau. You're a visionary. I'd love to work with you. Peer, I've also made videos, so I know exactly what you're, you know, the struggle of not being appreciated. Why does some not get as many likes as the others? But you need to be watching The Mandalorian. I'm not going to spoil this episode, but it was thrilling. And just there's a bit, right, this is just, all right, I'm going to nerd out on a bit of Star Wars stuff here, because I can't be talking about in-depth episodes. You know, I probably should do like a Mandalorian podcast, but I'm sorry, Bake Off is taking the priority there. But there's some rebels that appear in this. Not a spoiler, Mando's flying through space, and a few rebels show up, and this is post Return of the Jedi, right? So there's kind of like rebel space and old empire, old imperial space, right? So they're in the kind of rebel space, and it's just fun just to see the rebels there, and they're like kind of escorting them. And it's not like they're good guys. They're also like taking over this airspace. And Mando doesn't really follow any creed other than the Mandalorian, right? The Mandalorian people. So he's flying through space, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Oh, you know, he's not fucking beholden to them." And then he even says, you know, "May the force be with you." And he just says it so throwaway, being like really, that to him is almost akin to like a Zig Heil, you know what I mean? Hail, who the fuck's this guy? Zig Heil. It's him like kind of doing like, not like, it's not the same, but it's him having to kind of adopt the motto of the kind of ruling, you know, army in this case, you know. And he's just like, he doesn't give a fuck. He's trying to actually flee the rebels, you know. It's just totally reignited. Not even reignited. This is its own thing. This is fucking better than Star Wars, in my opinion. Mandalorian, here's a fucking hot take for you. Mandalorian is better than Star Wars. It's definitely better than A New Hope, right? That's all I'll say. It probably goes, I don't know. It's way better. It's just way better. It just fucking gets it. It gets what George Lucas was trying to do, and it gets what appealed to people. There was in the latest one, there's a fucking shitty looking ant called Dr. Mandible in it, who's like playing poker with, I don't remember her name, but one of the other, you know, recurring cast members. And it looks like a shitty puppet. It would have looked shit in 1977. It looks shit now. But that's what the aesthetic is. It's what J.J. Abrams tried to do, but put too much fucking polish on it in The Force Awakens. I'm not talking about this too much. Anyway, get on Mando. It's the best thing to happen to Star Wars in the last 50 years. Anyway, here, before I let you go, I have this very special Tony's Name Drop corner. Here we go. Is it Louis Walsh or Bono he's the horn for? Let's find out in Tony's Name Drop corner. Here we go. Yeah, you won a lot from Bake Off was messaging me there. Was it Louis Walsh or Bono he the horn for? Let's find out in Tony's Name Drop corner. Fucking fucked it up. Here we go. Yeah, look, I don't know if you saw my latest Bake Off podcast. Basically, me, producer, pod partner, Jordan, he did a lovely, fitting tribute to the lovely Lottie, the funniest, smartest, kind. Did I say funny? Baker on Bake Off, and she saw it, and she said, "Thanks very much." So there you go. I mean, I did say at the very end of the episode, Lottie, if you do want to message me online, that's fine. Is she like QAnon, reading between the lines? Anyway, you'll hear loads about it on the Bake Off podcast coming up on Thursday. But for now, listen, look, listen, live, and enjoy this. Hopefully you don't mind the last half an hour of my shiting on. That's really for the patrons, for my beloved patrons. I still want to give you your money's worth. You fucking live. Fucking, you think I'd ever give up on you? So, but for those who haven't heard this, hopefully you enjoy this Patreon from behind the paywall podcast, my 33 tips for turning 33. And I'll see you next week. All the best. All right. How are you getting on? How are you? Happy birthday. It's my birthday. Happy birthday to you. You live in a zoo. You look like a monkey. And you smell like one, too. And many more things I could say about you. It's my birthday today. It's my birthday as well. And I can't prove this, but I kind of feel like everyone knows it's my, there's something. This is as an attention-seeking child of divorce, this is the day I become the sun, and I mean S-U-N, of which all the planets rotate around. I feel like this is the point where there is some sort of cosmic wave that's all pointing directly towards me. And something weird. What's going on? Oh, it's Tony Campbell's birthday. That's what I feel like. My birthday was handled with such care to make sure it was perfect by my parents, like with those fucking nuclear reactor gloves. That's how I was handled. Like I was Bart in that episode of The Simpsons where, he can make things change with his mind and they give him everything he wants, It's like, I actually wanted Gizmo, not, what's his name? Stripe. What is his name? That's embarrassing, I don't know that. Stripe. Yeah, Stripe. I remember I got Stripe instead of Gizmo for Christmas. And honestly, my ma looked at me with such fear like she was going to turn into a fucking Jack-in-the-Box. But I've grown up now. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be all about me. And it doesn't get to be, because my niece and my mother-in-law have birthdays within the last 2 days. I said to Terry, if you fucking take this away from my birthday. Now, to be fair, the little boy laughed to see such fun, my son, when he stole my wife's birthday when he arrived a few days before then. And to be fair, I could have just still done more, but we were very tired. I got her some nice presents, but I could have been more, a bit of bunting. She's got a bit of bunting in there for me. This is happy birthday, it says on it. So, I could have done the same. But, so what I've decided to do for this episode, I'm recording it here from home. We're in the midst of lockdown P2. That means part 2. I'm punctuating it here for a bit of brevity. We're in the midst... So I'm back using my old mic, the one where you can actually hear me, Still can't fucking get to grips on the other one now. And don't be getting on to me, you very nice sound engineers, and say you want to do it for me. I have to learn. See, the fact you can hear the fucking yobbos outside, that's why they're not yobbos. Should be wearing a mask though, little fella. Huh? Two lads on their mountain bikes. I don't see any bloody mountains here. I'm not telling you where I fucking live. But I've already given it away, the fact there's no mountains. No, come here to me. For this podcast, I'm recording this at home. I am wedged in between a changing table and an IKEA Kallax. I'm using the Kallax is on its side, and as you know from a Kallax, it's the IKEA one with the squares. It has the squares inside it. I can't put my knees in there, so my shins are just mashed into the Kallax. And my good chair that Terry made me get rid of and put in my office is not here, because I got to move it. Anyway. Oh, who's that? Sorry, just the birthday messages coming in. I told you, people just know the antenna's going to... Tony Campbell's going to freak. This just in, Tony Campbell will freak if you don't recognise his birthday. Anyway, look, so what I've decided to do I don't know why I thought of this. I was going to do my initial plan. Get to the Gary, leave it. I think Gary pops up a bit more at home when I do these home recordings because of the, it's not all business. Going to the studio, it's all business. Here, I'm like, is there a rogue bag of shit somewhere here? Do you know what I mean? Is there just a rogue bag of poo that I, in the middle of the night, didn't put in the bin? You know? That's just kind of why. So Gary's creeping in there. But anyway, let me get to the fucking point. Is that originally what I wanted to do, as you know, about actually, sorry, where are my bloody manners over the wall picking up shite? You, my beloved patrons, who have made this the happiest of birthday. All 800 of you. 800 people. 800 people buying a ticket to this shite conference every month. I cannot thank you enough, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much. You've made this a particularly important birthday to be validated financially as an artist on the day. But what I was so let me get to the point and tell you what I'm talking about here. As you know, as a patron, you would have known that a couple of months ago, if you listen to it. No, I'm only messing. I don't get to see who listens to what on the Patreon. I did a thing where I listed off my top 5 favorite things. A list that I wrote when I was 23. And what I was going to do was write a list now that I'm 33 of all of my top 5 favorite things. On the previous list was things like fried chicken, Star Wars, magic, tits, and I think video games is in there as well. So I was going to write a new revised list. Probably things like, the laugh of my son, the last roasty from my partner, things like this. But then I was like, I can't be arsed doing that right now. So what I did do, which for some reason I found easier, you get thinking about on your birthday, or at least I do. I spend my entire day thinking about myself. So I was thinking about myself, kind of along the lines of when I was trying to write this list of the top 5 things that now I find, what would be the differences between me now and the differences in my priorities when I was 23. And then I started writing down a list of stuff, and I started doing a kind of morning pages thing, and I was just writing kind of at myself. I just found myself doing that in for half an hour. And I was trying to write notes, and I just found myself actually listing off things that I would actually tell myself when I was 23. So what I ended up writing here was 33 tips that I would give my past self for a more fulfilled and enjoyable and stress-free life. And I'm not going to lie, it was pretty easy to do because they're shit. They're shit tips. But they're not even necessarily things that I have adopted now. I suppose this is a list of the 33 things that I do occasionally that I notice have the biggest positive impact in my personal happiness. No, maybe that's too grand. They're just tips, but I don't fully obey them all. But I still think I can speak to them. I'm not necessarily I'm not a fucking hypocrite, Gary. Jesus, he's encroaching. It's my birthday. You're in the auditorium. You just popped your head up here. We're all here. It's Tony Campbell's birthday. You're being laughed at if you try and get involved here, right? So fucking pipe the fuck down. Anyway, these are my 33 tips for turning 33 on this, the bonus Cantwell shit show. It's Tony Cantwell shit show. And I know that this show is Tony Cantwell shit show. And I know, lovely stuff there. Thank you very much, Tristan Carroll, the official music man. I come from far away. What do you play? He plays piano. He plays loads of stuff. He's a multi-instrumentalist. Get on to Tristan Carroll if you need some cool beats. And Cian Conde. Do you come from a Cian Conde, who does the theme song for the Bake Off podcast that I do. Thank you very much. What a fantastic community of incredible creators. And I'm glad that these are the sort of people who are listening to this pod. Fantastic creators, because I think I have a lot of tips in here that are to do with a creative process and being a bit forgiving of whatever your creative process is. Now, again, I make little silly dumb little videos. I barely finish things. As you know, I have so many videos on my YouTube channel or Facebook that say the blah 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 part 1 of 10, and then it only ever ends at part 1. So and none of my tips here are finished things. I think having loads of part 1s, whenever that's just what you do. Do you know what I mean? So there might be a bit of Gary getting in here, right? And I'm gonna try and point him out in the auditorium, put a spotlight on him, do what my old teacher, Mr. Connolly, did. And if you didn't know where you were in the book, you just all right, stand up. That's it. Just stand up. You just have to stand there for the rest of the class. It wasn't like crazy punishment. It wasn't like in that scene in Payback with Mel Gibson, where he's like, you have to hold the bags out you have to hold out your bags in like, what am I saying? Fucking hold out these 2 bags, and if your shoulders drop, he's gonna shoot you. And the lads are shaking, holding the bags. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. You just stand up, but you still point and laugh internally at the person. So it was a good whatever. Anyway, moving on. These tips are my own. And then here's the first one, right? These are in no particular order. But I think they get worse as it goes along. The nature of anything. I haven't jumbled it up, But, you got a lot of enthusiasm at the start. And then just... and look, I don't know how fucking funny these are going to be. But whatever. This is what we're doing. It's my birthday, right? All right, number 1, right? If you have a hobby that you love, get a lesson in it. Get lessons in it. I cannot explain how much of a difference it could be. Well, I can. I'll try here. The difference, if you are messing around with something for 10 years without any direction, yeah, you'll get better at it. You'll become a better skateboarder. You become a better guitarist, artist, whatever it is, writer. But if you got a lesson from someone who's they're not their hobby, this is their sole focus in life, is to be better at something, get tips off them. I guarantee that few tips off them, had you had that 10 years ago rather than noodling around on your own, you'd be 50 times as good as you are now. Let people educate you. Invest in the hobbies. Your hobbies are class. And you want to get that sweet spot. The whole thing they talk about flow state. Flow state is when you are doing something that is just... the grand scheme of flow state, but how you achieve flow state is by doing something where it's something that's a little bit too challenging, but you're just within your grasp because you can almost see exactly what it is you're supposed to be getting, and you're almost there. I used to start messing around with the guitar, trying to learn songs that were too complicated, and I'd be like, no, this is overwhelming, I'm bored. And then I'd put down the guitar for like 2 months, or open up a music making software on the computer, like a DAW or something like that, Fruit Loops, Cubase, something like that, try and make beats on it, realize that, no, this is too complicated now, I don't understand this, and then be like, this isn't for me. It's not that. Get someone who knows what they're talking about to drip feed you the information at a pace that you can handle in your ability, at your level. And it will, honestly, 50 times make, it'll improve you. It'll dramatically improve your ability in that particular hobby. I can't tell you how much of a difference, even just looking at a scale on YouTube, scales for the guitar. I still don't even fucking know what they are, but even just doing that, or looking at a few chord techniques, things like that, looking at where things are, looking at where what it means to actually be a C chord and a G chord, things like that. You will just be able to see a much wider field of the whole general hobby or sport. Number 2, if a fucking prequel or a sequel comes along that you don't like, right? If someone comes along and they're like, what, he's directing the new Batman? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It cannot take away. What happened was you saw a bit of art and you were moved by it. That will never be taken away from you. That will never. And people can do whatever they want. People right now, I used to fantasize, right? If I became a billionaire, right? I decided, because I hate watching Coronation Street, I would buy Coronation Street. I thought this when I was a child. Buy Coronation Street and then make them all just fucking kill each other, right? This is just a fantasy of a 13-year-old boy. And then they'd be like, and that's the end. And it's the end of Coronation Street because I owned it. So that would be me, not realizing that someone would be like, well, no, you're not doing that. I don't care fucking how much money you have. Although you could definitely do it for $1 billion. But anyway. Well, this wasn't my point. I was like, on to this. Yeah, any decision could be made. Any mad, insane decision can be made for money, right? And your nostalgia for things can certainly be milked and it can be exploited, but it shouldn't and can't Although it does take it away. It just does take it away. It does take it away. I can't watch The Empire Strikes Back now without thinking like fucking, oh, is that the Yoda that was a puppet once and then was CGI and then it was a puppet again? You know? How come Luke is too old to begin the training and Anakin, who was 6, was also too young to begin? How young? You know what I mean? It just is ruined. But try and make it not ruined. More so like if someone's directing a new Batman, they're like, you know, oh, that's just their take on Batman. Doesn't take away from Christian Bale. It's not like Batman's ruined. You know what I mean? They're going to bring back Iron Man, right? They're going to bring back Iron Man, right? Robert Downey Jr. is going to suit up again. And Chris Evans is going to suit up again as Captain America. And the perfect closure that they had at the end of Endgame won't be ruined, okay? It won't be ruined. Let them do whatever they want with their billions. It's not going to take away from the fact of how unbelievably happy and bawling I was at the end of Endgame when I was in the cinema. That's all I'm saying, because I know some people listen to this who haven't seen the end. Third one, if a new game or a new console comes out, right, know this for a fact: you're buying into the hype, you're not buying into what you're getting here. Early released games for consoles are usually shy, right? And it's not going to make you unbelievably happy. What you're buying in is to the hype so that you can be part of the conversation. So know that. If there's a game that you don't normally buy, but everyone's talking about it and you want to be into the hype, know that you haven't played the last 20 fucking FIFAs. What's going to change now? Nothing's going to change now. Well, you're just going to develop a habit of setting up, you know, a new, you know, team manager game. I don't even know what it's fucking called. You know, the solo game where you manage a team. Yeah, well, look, don't get wrapped up in the hype. Wait for the new games to come out for the PS5. Know that you're buying into the hype and be patient. There's probably so much more that you can still be playing right now of things you really do enjoy. And you'll be a lot happier doing that. I've spent so many different £60 on games that I got caught up in the hype, right? Maybe look at why. Maybe you're just anxious. Maybe you're just anxious about something. All right, number 4. Be the hat guy. Be the hat guy. If you're worried about being the hat guy, wearing a new hat in your 20s or 30s, and you're like, what? You never worn a hat before. What's this hat guy? Be the hat guy. Trust me, it'll take 2 days, and everyone will get used to you being the hat guy, and you won't even be like, they're not going to make a big song and dance about you being the hat guy, but don't be fucking worried about wearing a new top, wearing a new hat. People are so fucking fickle and flaky, and they will drop this obsession with you trying something new, or a new haircut. Just do it. Wait till they see how you carry yourself different and sexy with your new fedora. Number 5. If you've never worked hard at something, you're going to find it hard to work at something even when it's your dream job. Now, I say this from experience where I never worked hard on anything really. Well, no, look, I'm like, you know, be kind to yourself. I always kind of thought, right, as soon as the dream situation comes along, of course I'll find my stamina, I'll find my energy, I'll find my enthusiasm to do it. I just want to be left alone to write something, write a screenplay. That was always the thing. If I just get to the level where I'm paid to write a screenplay, I know that's when I'm going to happily check in at 9 o'clock and finish at 6 and put those hours in. I won't even take breaks. I know that. That's not how it works, right? Putting things off, procrastinating is a habit, and it's a very difficult habit to break. So if there's a job that you do that's in any way in line with something you really want to do, know that by you getting up early or you rocking up and working hard at that you are actually building the muscle to work hard at the thing that you want to work hard at. It's difficult to start from not really doing it and or just half-assing something to then full-assing something that you really want to do. That's just what I found in my experience. You could be completely different, and it could be completely different in, you know, you could be in a fucking job where you really don't want to be, that you could be half-assing, but then you get called up to be a professional footballer. I don't know. But I've definitely found from experience that the bad habits that you pick up doing something you don't want to do can follow you through into the things that you really do want to do. And speaking of which, work in 25-minute bursts. Number 6, work in 25-minute bursts. Do not be beating yourself up if you can't sit there for 2 hours. Work for 25 minutes, get up and do a break. Give yourself 25 minutes, seems just to be the sweet spot. It's the Pomodoro technique. I don't know how it works, it just works. I cannot tell you how much it has helped me do the work that I really have been putting off and didn't want to do. Just speak to yourself calmly. Say, all I'm going to do is do 25 minutes. There's a timer there in the corner. When that goes up, I'm just going to get up, walk around, get a bit of energy, or get a bit of air in my lungs and stretching in my legs, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to do it. Just 25 minutes. Works great. 7. Put a note in your notes app called costumes. And whenever you think of a costume that year, put it in there. you always get to September. You're like, what can I do? What'll I do? What were the big things this year? What would be a good costume? Put it in the costumes thing. You only do one a year. You shouldn't be half-assing your costume. And I'm fucking screaming at myself in the mirror here saying this. I haven't fucking even thought of a costume. I always don't have a costume. I always think of them during the year. I'm like, here, Terry, you know what they should do? And then I don't think of the costume. And then I rocks up a Halloween and I don't have that costume, right? So whether it's fucking Zombie Tiger King or whatever it is, just have it in a little notes app. And that applies to everything. Jokes. Put it in a little notes app, right? Category notes app that you go back to. Imagine having a notes app that you've been dipping back into. My very good friend Shane, he's got all of his shit jokes saved in his notes. And whenever just there's a London conversation, or even when no one asks for it, he'll just whip it out. And it's terrible, terrible jokes. Number 8, give romantic interests a few first impressions. When you're in a romantic situation, sometimes it can take you a while to. If you go by the first impression, you might be swiping left. I don't know. I've never been on Tinder. You're swiping the wrong one. You might be swiping in your mind if you're in a romantic situation. And definitely as you get older, things are like, nope, that's a hard out for me. No way. But give people a couple of first impressions. Give people a couple of chances because, I found certainly in the happy relationships that I've been in, have been ones where I'm like, we'll see how this goes. We'll see. Not to say that I want to give my wife a second chance, but I'm like, I wouldn't mind trying this. You don't have to be 100% sure about delving, head first into something before, you don't have to fully fucking commit, Tan. You know what I mean? Just give people a couple of chances. I find good relationships are like albums. My favorite albums are albums that I was like, I don't know, this is a bit different. This is kind of wow. I don't know if this is exactly in line with the person I am. And then you realize, no, this album's just changing me and making me become a better man. And Pinkerton's fucking greatest album of all time. That's the kind of vibe you need to be going for. That's what I find anyway. Number 9, streaks actually work. It actually works. If you go 100 days off of cigarettes, you won't want that to go back down to 0. If you've done 7 days on the trot of getting up and weighing yourself, even though you probably shouldn't do that, you should only do that once a week. Say, all right, if you've done 4 weeks of getting up and weighing yourself every single week, you don't want that to go back to 0. Get that up to 10, If you have done anything, if you have been journaling every day for 100 days, just don't break the streak. That's what Jerry Seinfeld does. He writes new jokes every single day. He has not broken the streak, even when he's been extraordinarily ill in various times in his life, like had the flu. He has never broken the streak of writing jokes. Every single day he gets up and he marks an X off his calendar. So it does work. It does work, and there's some good apps for it. There's one called Streaks. There's other various to-do apps, or you could just, retroactively put it in your Google Calendar or Apple Calendar or whatever that you did that job, and then you can just see all those kind of colored bars on your calendar, and it makes you feel like, oh wow, I'm actually fucking doing stuff. It's awesome. This is a bit of a weird one, right? This is kind of in line with the habits. Number 10, right? How you work is how you work, right? How you work is how you work. Be even fucking sound to yourself. That's how you work. Yes, there are probably habits that could help you get to where you are, but I feel like habits and focusing on habits is like 10%. 90% is just who you are as a human, and especially if you've got 20 years of having done something a certain way, or 30 years, new habits might help a little bit, but they're not going to help dramatically. Don't put as much focus on habits. Know that there's certain ways that you work, but know that there's ways you could probably improve. But just be kind to know that that's how it works. You're not going to out of nowhere, if you've never been able to submit something to a deadline in 2 days, then don't say you can do it in 2 days. Do you know what I mean? If you've never been able to do it before, of course, it's always time to challenge yourself, but don't put yourself in situations that you're going to beat yourself up. Know how you work and adapt to the work that you take on based on how you work. You want to be happy at the end of the day. 11, and I tell you, 11. As I stare out at where the fucking Dublin City Council stole my bike. They stole my bike. My brother-in-law even saw them stealing it. I need to get onto them about it. And he was like, "Hey, what are you doing over there?" And they were like, "No, this bike's been here for ages." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. It's my bike. That's where I leave it." Anyway, my number 11 was cycling is great and it's dead cheap, and you can get a lot of awesome independence. If there is in any way your happiness linked with, even if it's just a small thing where you get on the bus, you're like, this is fucking shit. If that happens once a week or to Lewis or something like that, think about getting a fucking bike. Just think about getting a bike. I put it off for years. I was a bit scared being on the road, didn't feel confident on the road. Just follow other people who aren't as scared as you. That's what you do. You just get on a bike and just follow them. Cycle on the road is class. It's dead cheap. It's so independent. And you feel great. So I need to get a new fucking bike. Number 12. This is a vague one, right? We live in a society that values certain things. And kind of devalues others. Just remember that, right? And don't know that you don't have to fucking fully buy into that. And I was thinking about this one after listening to Blind Boy's podcast when he was talking about how he when he being a kind of messer in class, he was kind of training and making people laugh. He was training these skills in a situation or in an environment that didn't cater for them. So it looked quite abrasive and it looked quite, it looked like it didn't belong. And he probably felt like he didn't belong. And there was definitely times where I felt like I didn't belong, but there were aspects of training being done. So there are other aspects of training being done in every single part of how you live. It's a shame that things aren't kind of being focused that way, like we don't have more kind of practical kind of exams in school and everything like that. People learn things different way. People are smart and don't have as much education in other aspects as other people. But just know that we do live in a society where that isn't entirely even. And some people's skills are valued over other people's skills. So just remember that. And don't beat yourself up if you feel dumb in a situation, if you feel like you don't have as much skills as other people. Know that that's focused something in another direction. Even if that's just an encyclopedic knowledge of the speedrunning community in Mario 64. Look, it's fucking pointless information, but you do have that over so many other people. Number 13, having less clothes means you'll probably have nicer clothes. You'll look after fewer clothes. If you've got 7 pairs of socks, not even that, 5 pairs of socks, you should be washing more than once a week. Washing your clothes more than once a week, right? I don't do this. I have been infinitely at war with washing. Right, and I just grab stuff off the rail. I grab stuff, whatever I can grab, and right now I'm just wearing a t-shirt and jeans. I have loads of nice shirts in there. I could have made it a day where I carried myself with a higher level of confidence with one of my nice shirts, didn't put it on, grabbed something there that was just off the rail. If I didn't have that t-shirt, if I just had that, if I had a nice t-shirt, my nice t-shirt, I'm just wearing a shitty t-shirt right now. Having fewer clothes means you have to look after your clothes and you'll know what your wardrobe is. You'll know what matches with other stuff. Grabbing stuff off, it's fine, and it's fine to be comfortable. But if you do want to improve your wardrobe, get rid of most of it. And like the bits that you like and put that at the front of the rail or front of the drawer and make sure that you're grabbing that on a regular basis. Make sure that your shit clothes are invisible or just there for the times that you want to chill out, chillax on the couch. Number 14, get a load of lemons. When life gives you lemons, get a load of lemons. I've already said this on the podcast. Get loads of lemons. My wife introduced this concept into the family. Having a shitload of lemons. Put it in the water. Put it on a bit of fish. Have a load of lemons on a bowl. My mate Dan came over to the gaff there a few years ago and he said, oh my God, what's the story about the lemons? I love it. I'm like, we just have lemons. It just makes you look like a classy fucker, right? Just get a load of lemons, put them in a bowl, you look great. 15. This is a personal one, right? But I find myself sometimes falling out of love of music. Not falling out of love. Falling out of habit of listening to music, listening to podcasts. And I find myself using that time when I'm listening to podcasts, not thinking because I'm listening to what I'm, And I think podcasts are great. Of course I do. I've built a career now off of this. But I do find sometimes having a break from podcasts is very beneficial for my mind, personally. Going back into music. Finding the music that you loved growing up. Finding new music. I find I think a lot more when I walk around listening to music. And let yourself think. You know what I mean? If you're listening to music, you're still not left alone with your sick thoughts. You have music. But know that you have music. That's just for anyone who has maybe stopped listening to music. You might actually, when you find it again, you'll probably be like, Jesus fucking Christ, why did I stop listening to music? Number 16, right? When you are, venting is very beneficial, but you might not want to vent to someone. You might want to say something that you didn't want maybe your SO, significant other, to hear. or something that you're a bit worried about how to phrase it. You don't really have, because sometimes I found myself venting years ago into my 20s, and I'd start venting, and just because I had someone's ear, I would start saying stuff I didn't even mean, because I didn't really know how I felt, and then I was like, well, I've said that out loud. Is that what I mean? It's like, no, you're just venting, and there's a lot of things that are factors of that. You're tired. You maybe have eaten something that's giving you a bit of a sugar crash. Genuinely, these are all things that affect your mood. And then you have someone's ear, and they're like, no, but what is it? And you start saying something that you don't even necessarily mean. Of course, that's a perfect cop-out as well. Didn't mean it. But also, you might say something you don't mean. Vent to yourself as well. You can vent to yourself. You can just fucking get out a notes thing, start typing away. And I've found that when I vent at myself, I in the same paragraph, I'm the person calming myself down and making me realize that it's fine. You sometimes need to get it out there, you know? This is shit. I don't like this. I don't like the pressure from this. I have to do this, this, and this. And then you're like, well, actually, that's fine and totally within my control. And if I just change my attitude on it, I'll probably actually feel a lot better. So if you vent at yourself, you'll probably also get to pat yourself on the back for being the person who calmed the person down. You know, if that makes sense. If you're making something, 17, if you're making something, right, make it with the worst tech that you have, right? There is no quick tech solution. You don't need a 4K camera to start making it. You don't need maybe a cheap USB mic if you, at the moment, are using your phone. Most phones are good. But, you know, there's a lot of incredible things that have started on a lot worse tech. See and flesh it out and then think, right, if there's something that can improve this a little bit, it should only really improve it a little bit if it's solely defined by the tech. Now, having said that, if you don't have a smartphone and you want to get on TikTok and start making stuff, then that is an essential bit of tech. But you can do a lot with cheap tech, and keep that in mind, and maybe even just focus on one thing that you want to, you know, improve upon with tech. You know, you don't need, I don't know. That's just, I spent a lot of money. And then again, because I spent money, I put a lot of pressure on me. And then when I couldn't figure it out, I bought this new tech and it seemed complex, convoluted. I didn't get any lessons in it. Then I'd be like, why did I do this? Why didn't I start with something rudimentary that I understand and how to use? If you don't understand Photoshop, make it on something else. Make it on MS Paint. Jim will paint it on Twitter. Makes amazing art on Paint. Hugh Cooney makes amazing art on MS Paint. If there's something you understand, get as good as you can on that, and then get lessons in a thing that can excel the skills. Don't think that there's going to be a quick tech solution to improving. I don't know if this is fucking funny, but this is just what I was thinking about. If I could go back and say this is some lessons I've learned in the last 10 years. Another one here. Driving's actually really easy, and it's so class, and it's 10,000 times better than getting the bus or the Lewis anywhere. And you feel like a big swinging dick. Even though I'm a 33-year-old man, I still feel like that kid. You know, when one of your mates is like the first mate to be driving, and he comes to pick you up, and he walks in swinging the fucking keys like a big cock, being like, hey, I'm a big man, flirting. Now he's flirting with your man, being like, how you doing, Carla? Oh my god, this little fella, huh? You know, same age. He might even be younger than you. You know, but I feel that level of confidence now. I feel like he was even fucking cooler than me then, than I am now. You know, it's definitely a confidence booster. Driving in a car, and I can't tell you the level of pride that I have driving around my car with a little kid in the back and my wife there, and she's now looking on her phone now. She's not worried about me driving into that and smashing into the back of a bus. She's now confident enough that she's not having one hand on the fucking brake and one hand on the door. Next up here, it's a weird one, right? But it does happen sometimes, right? 19. Question why you think things about people, right? It's a weird one, right? Basically, why do you think things about certain groups? Why, if there's some people from a certain country, do you think things? You know what I mean? Like, even if it's a bunch of Americans, walk into a room, you know, you spot an American and they have a cap, and you're like, well, you might think something. You know, why? No, I'm not laying it down, right? A bunch of Spanish students on the back of the bus. Why do you think something? Do you know what I mean? And like, what are you know, just rather than having a kind of reaction. Did some uncle tell you something fucking weird? You know what I mean? I think I said this in the pod recently. You know, did someone make a joke about Polish people? Did someone make a joke about travelers, and now you kind of have a weird feeling or something like that? Try and analyze where it comes from, because if you do actually think about it, you'll probably realize it's not. There's nothing based in any personal experience, or probably even anything that anyone's even said to you. But yet you still might find yourself a bit weird. I don't know. Am I the only one thinking this? Am I just admitting feeling sometimes racist sometimes? Am I just admitting racism here? But you know what I mean? Like, why do you feel the way you feel? Try and just question it. And I found a lot of the time, questioning things. I'm like, I don't even know why I think that. So yeah, it's gone. Do you know what I mean? They're just Spanish students. They're just over here. They came to our wonderful country to learn more about it, to educate themselves. And just because of the nature of their flat sound, that might be a bit annoying, but don't let it be annoying. That's their beautiful language. It's stunning, you know? I'm sure if that was said, whispered in your ear with a lovely partner, you'd probably think that's the most beautiful language in the world. So don't mind the guy, eating licorice in the back, speaking Spanish. Just saying. Just question why you think the things that you think, and you'll probably dispel most negative ones. You'll probably get to the root. You'll probably realize there's no root of it, which means that you can get rid of it. Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense. I'm a big racist. Anyway, moisturize that face, honey. Number 20. Moisturize that face, hunty. I moisturize now. I spent years not moisturizing. I love moisturizing now. I love rubbing my face. I love focusing on my face. I feel much fresher getting into bed. I feel like I've achieved more. I feel like it's more closure for the end of the day. Having a routine, having a nighttime routine. So I enjoy having a nice warm cloth and kind of getting a little muslin cloth and a nice little kind of rub my face with some face wash and then putting a bit of moisturizer on it. And I've noticed the differences between not doing that. So there. I think most young people now do fully moisturize now. I'm of the last generation who didn't, but I feel much better having done it. I wish I did it sooner. So there you go. Number 21. If you're walking by a florist and you happen to have like a tenner, just go in there and say, hey, what can I get for a tenner? You can do that with most things. Say, what can I get for this? Don't let anyone be like, don't say you want a beautiful bouquet and be like, what, 60? Oh my God. Just say, I only got a tenner. Usually you can get a couple of nice wildflowers and a bit of grasses. They're all cheap. The grasses ones with the big things that look like, on the beach, like wheat and stuff. And it looks good. And you can make someone's day by giving them flowers. Some people love that shit. Some people don't. Some people fucking don't. My ex hated flowers. She used to leave. She left them on the bus. She left them in people's gaffs. My current partner, Terry, loves flowers. And when I think of it, it does make her happy. She likes it. You don't have to have, these remind me of you because they're nice and you're nice and shit like that, right? People like flowers. I don't know why. I don't like them. It's like, why don't you give me fucking chicken, chicken fillet roll? I'd much prefer that, Terry made me a breakfast roll this morning, same kind of thing. Be nice. Number 22. Number 22. No one knows what to say when someone dies. Especially when you're younger, no one really knows what to say. And I often found myself thinking, right, do I have to... You go into it with the mentality of like it's a social media post, I can't just say what everyone else is saying. I can't say something cliche like, I'm so sorry, I'm here for you if you need that. And that's what everyone else is saying. I need to think of something. Don't be fucking trying to be cliche. Because all you're trying to get across, it's like not even tonally, you're just trying to get across that you're there for someone, And again, this is all of these are me talking to me, right? I'm not here in my bloody soapbox telling you how to fucking handle death or anything like that. But I definitely found myself wasting times, or in some cases, not saying something because I didn't want to be cliche. Like someone I kind of thought would be friend I hadn't seen in maybe a year, and I didn't get in touch. And I'm like, why not fucking just people love, or not people love, it can be very comforting. Or in any capacity to hear from someone you haven't heard from in a while, if it's something like that, and this is not even me coming from an experience of actually being on that side, but I know, love whatever, I know, all I'm saying is that do say something even if it's cliche, and all you're trying to do is just be there for someone, because I fucking remember just today thinking, how can I make going looking up poems about death and then been like, send them a fucking poem. If you want to send them a poem, send them a poem. But don't be looking up a poem because you want your message about someone else's fucking bereavement to be the most original fucking wasted time. So don't be doing that. Just be there. And you know what? In the same vein, number, what are we on? 23. Drop food off for people. You'd be so surprised how happy it makes. We only realize that from having a baby and having food dropped off and not having to make dinners. How much of a difference it makes just eating someone else's food. It's always lovely, and it makes just knowing that someone doesn't have to make a dinner. You know what I mean? So you can do that certainly in a bereavement situation. You can do it when someone has a baby. You can do that in a situation where anything, someone's birthday, drop them off fucking food in a dish. Food. And another one, 25. Bring fucking McDonald's to people's gaffs. You know what I mean? Bring McDonald's. You can bring a lot of fries. People love fries. A lot of €1 hamburgers. You know? A lot of. It's a very cheap. If you're passing by McDonald's and you're going over to someone's gaff, it doesn't. You're not necessarily bringing dinner. That's a snack as well. I'm not sponsored by McDonald's. I know I've been talking about them a lot recently, but there you are. Just McDonald's. You forget that you can bring that as a snack. You know, rather than spending €3 on a big thing of fucking, I don't know, tortilla chips or something. You can bring a load of fries. McDonald's is a snack. 25. Doing karaoke during pre-drinks guarantees a good night out. If you're having prinks, when things let up a bit and you're going out, do a bit of karaoke in the gaff, right? Get a bit of a sing-song going. It'll get the blood cells pumped. I don't know the science behind it, but I know for a fact that when you do karaoke on YouTube, before you go out for drinks, it is going to be a fucking serious night. I guarantee it is, right? So do it. 26. You don't realize this, right? But every single day you're ticking off about 20 boxes in the things that you do, right? Whether it's getting various tasks done, getting back to emails, closing the loops on certain jobs. That's the last bit of correspondence you need to do with that. Dropping something off, picking up something. You are ticking boxes every single day. So if you were to write down them all, right, even before you do them, you would realize how much you've accomplished, and you would also feel that sense of accomplishment. You would feel like you've done more. I found myself coming home thinking like I'd done fuck all, but if I really had to kind of tot it up, and you kind of feel like you're doing yourself a favor when you tot it up after the fact, you're like, oh, I did this. But if you actually wrote down those tasks, you would not only realize how much more you could get accomplished, but then you would also feel that sense of accomplishment. Just know, or even if you don't want to do that, right? Know that you're ticking off boxes every single day just by fucking living, right? Just by literally, if you're having to pick something up, even just fucking pick something up for your ma, right? If you have to, drop someone off somewhere, if you have to go around and get something for someone else, or something for yourself, you are ticking off boxes every day. You are accomplishing tasks. And if you do write them down, you tick them off, you get the satisfaction of ticking them off yourself. And also, I'm just repeating myself. There you go. Right, number 27. Don't be getting fucking glasses. Don't be getting glasses in Specsavers, right? Don't be going to Specsavers. Don't be getting charged €189 for 2 pairs of fucking glasses that you didn't really want, but it was the only thing they had there. All this fucking shit. And then you look in the mirror and you can barely fucking see your own eyes because of the fucking glaze and them all. Don't be going to Specsavers, right? You can go to Ace & Tay, you can go to Optica. I've heard they're good. But what I always do is go into TK Maxx, find some cool frames, right? You can find designer frames in there. They're mad cheap. Sunglasses, right? You get the lenses out, you get them reglazed. I don't pay more than 60 quid for any pair of glasses that I get by doing that. Usually might pay 45 quid for the reglazing. There's various places online. I post about them before, right? You can find them there. There's loads of places you can do it for like 40 quid to get brand new reglazed glasses or old glasses. If your dad's got a nice pair of sunglasses he doesn't use anymore, get them. Old Ray-Bans. Any sunglasses you don't use anymore, need any glasses, you can reglaze it. Do it. There needs to fucking take away this fucking monopoly on Specsavers in control of the fucking clothes for your face. And I tell you one other thing. Subscription sunglasses, much cheaper than you think if you just shop around, right? Don't be doing it to the place that actually will sell you the lenses. Just find where they reglaze it and you'll be fine. Sorry, I'm out of breath here. 28, right? If you pay monthly internet or mobile, I'm still fucking banging this drum. If you pay for your mobile or internet or TV or anything like that on a monthly basis, you have been paying thousands in your lifetime, especially if it's the same provider, right? That means they have to fucking move mountains for you. They owe you everything. Yes, you are just a number to them. But if you get them on the phone and flex the fact that, hang on, I have given you thousands across my history with you, they will do things for you. The prices are not the prices, right? Especially when it gets to money like that. The prices are not the prices. It isn't like going into a shop and it's like, all right, how much is the Freddo? The Freddo price is on it. Yes, you can kick off. Yes, they're too expensive now. But you can't be going fucking bartering or fucking dealing or anything like that in Spar. But when it's a service provider and you have a contract, you can engage in a bit of discourse there so that you can Just get shit for cheaper, and then say to you you're going to quit if they don't. You can say you're going to quit if they don't give it to you. They would lose thousands from you leaving and going to another service provider. So just keep that in mind. You have the biggest fucking cojones, brass fucking balls in this debate, right? So just know that. And whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say debate is what I'm saying. Number 29, lamps change everything. If you wonder why your mate's got a nice mood in their gaff and you don't, it's probably because you leave the big light on, right? You're leaving the big light on. The big light is for your parents. Get rid of the big light. Get lamps. Get 4 lamps, right? There are 4 lamps, right? Or no, 4 lamps is too much. Get 2 or 3 lamps, right? And have them kind of spaced around the gaff. And get a nice kind of soft, warm bulb, a kind of a yellowy bulb. Don't be getting a cold bulb. Don't be getting a kind of blue light bulb, okay? Get a nice warm bulb. Enact the kind of Scandinavian tradition of hygge, nice relaxed vibe in your gaff. Get some lights. It's probably, if there's a good vibe in your mate's gaff and not a good vibe in your gaff, apart from the fact that, I don't know, he might have a better couch. I don't know what's going on, but listen, just get better lights. Get lamps, Lamps. And here's another one. Here's a bonus one I didn't even have written down. Having music in the background means that if there's a lull in the conversation, you don't feel it immediately. Your heart doesn't fucking jump out of your chest out of fucking sheer anxiety because there's a lull in the conversation. Have something ticking away in the back. Just music in the back. You don't even need to... Even if you have to strain to listen to what it is, having something tinkling away in the back. Lamps and music in the back, a good vibe make. Actually, that'll be 30. This was a shite when I had frozen fruit and veg are grand. It was that one. It was number 31. No, that was number 30. So get rid of that and exchange that with music in the background, right? Number 31. If you want to figure out a better way of brushing your teeth, you have to know that you have to do it for 2 minutes, apparently, right? Electric brush and all that shit. I don't do that. I just do a normal brush. But if you want to keep the 2-minute rule, make it like... there's loads of songs. There's like playlists on Spotify that are 2-minute songs. That just are just exclusively Please Please Me is mine, right, by the Beatles. So from da 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 last night I get to listen to Please Please Me every night when I brush my teeth, and it's 2 minutes and I know that I've done a good job, and it's fucking long. It's fucking long brushing for 2 minutes, so keep that in mind. Number 32, ask dumb questions. Ask fucking dumb questions. If you're not asking dumb questions, someone else is going to take advantage of you. If you do not ask a dumb question, if you're in a meeting and someone says something, they say fucking... Like if someone's talking about fucking PPE, right? And it's not even in a meeting. Someone's talking about PPE. Everyone started talking about PPE, and eventually you just have to be like, what's PPE? All right, it's just the fucking gear. It's masks and all, right? You're not dumb for not knowing what PPE is. Someone had to not know what PPE was before they knew what PPE was, right? But if it's something like that, if there's like, costs per thousand, CPT. Some people start saying CPT, some start saying, SEO, all these, just fucking ask dumb questions. Otherwise, people are going to take advantage of the fact, and they're going to get you to do things that you don't know what you're doing. This is not necessarily from personal experience, but I definitely found myself in meetings, in jobs where I'm like, oh, yeah, fine, yeah, that's fine, yeah, grant, yeah. And then not knowing anything about what I was saying. You can always go back and say, all right, I understand this and this. What's this? Okay, great. That's going to take me 2 days. I'll get that back to you now. You know what I mean? Whatever it is. Like I used to have this sales director, and he would just ask purposely. He was like, I might be really dumb, but I have no idea what you're talking about. And then people realize that they're probably not communicating in the best possible way. You're not always dumb. Sometimes people aren't. You're never dumb. Just the communication isn't fully there for you to totally grasp what people are talking about. Again, I'm talking to myself here. These are all me talking to myself. Keep that in mind. If you can take any good info from this, then good. But these are the things that I would go back and tell myself. And the last one here, number 33, and probably the most important one. Just do a fucking one toke and then pass, man. Just do one toke, and then when it comes around in the circle, you can see how strong it was, and if you want to go back for seconds, right? Do not try and keep up with the lads who brought the weed. Do not try and do that. You're not trying to impress anyone here. It will ruin your night. You will be sitting there not willing to talk to anyone for the whole night. And you're a young, hot guy. You need to be out there, dancing around, doing a bit of fucking karaoke during pranks. Do not have an extra drag. Just have one like kissing a little angel's booty. And then wait for it to come back again. And that's it. Those are my 33 tips that I would give myself at the age of 23 things that I haven't always applied, do not always continue to apply, but definitely things that I've definitely picked up. Definitely. Buy a thesaurus is another one. Number 34, buy a thesaurus. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I don't know if it was particularly funny, but I can't fucking whatever. Fuck. I don't know. You're here on the Patreon. That doesn't matter. You fucking you fucking muppets. You fucking worms. You any fucking shrivel. No, money. Thank you again for your very kind continued support and for making this a spectacular birthday for me, the birthday boy, as I turned 33 today. Thank you very much for listening. I will see you on Tuesday. And then if you listen to Sexy Beasts, I'll see you on Wednesday. And then if you listen to the Bake Off podcast, I'll see you on Thursday. And then I'll see you back here on Friday on the Patreon. I love you. Goodbye.